Hello and welcome to SSUC, Spiritual Seekers United in Community. Welcome to our spiritual gathering for Sunday, August the 8th, 2021. Welcome to all of those of you joining us from the Edmonton area, from our satellite community at SSUC Saskatoon, from across the country, west to BC, east in Saskatchewan, in Manitoba, Ontario, and beyond, in the U.S. and across the world, wherever you're joining us from, welcome. We welcome the entire human family at SSUC. We know that we are made up of all ages and stages, all colors and sizes, all genders, all sexualities, all abilities, and all religions, or none. And what unites us is our desire to create community with one another. We're close to creating it again in person, and in these many, many months, we've been creating it online. And so whether we're here in this room or you're joining us from your living room, your bedroom, your back porch, your balcony, wherever you are, welcome. We all belong. We acknowledge that here in this part of the prairies that we are located on Treaty 6 territory, where we commit to respecting the history and the tradition, the languages and cultures of First Nation and Métis peoples. And as we honor this relationship and commitment, we ask you to acknowledge the land and history wherever you find yourself today. The little piece of land you're sitting on now, the view out your window, your community, your town, your nation, your continent, your globe. We have gratitude for this land and don't take it for granted. My teammate, Nancy Steeves, who is away enjoying some well-deserved vacation time, is with us in spirit, I know, traveling today from Vancouver Island. And we have others in the room today, too. For Micah and Carolyn, our musicians. For Dara and Noah, our technical advisors. And as we bring this experience to you, may you find what you need. We'll take a moment to light our candles. We invite you to light your candle at home as a way to reinforce the fact that we are connected with each other, even though separated by distance and miles. And so as we light this candle, you're invited to light yours. We are a lot of different kinds of people. We're individuals, we're families, we're couples. We're all the people that make up community. And we light our candles together across the distance because it reminds us of our connection, and we return to this light as a reminder of the spark of wisdom, the light of living, the flame of love, compassion, and belonging that unites each of us. If you need a reminder of any of those things, light your candle. Return your gaze to it. Light it later today or in the week when you need it most. We know that all that we do is praise to the sacredness of living and life and this amazing and wondrous universe we live in. And so we have a song that we sing, a song of praise to the sacred that is all around us.
It's a song of praise for the sacred. The thrush sings high in the tree. It's a song of praise for the sacred. The gray whale sings in the sea, and by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the cosmic cry and sing, sing, sing of the sacred tune. It's a call of life for the living when waves and waterfalls roar. It's a call of life for the living when high tides break on the shore. And by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the cosmic cry and sing, sing, sing of the sacred tune. It's a hymn of love for the loving. The bumblebees hum along. It's a hymn of love for loving. The summer breeze joins the song, and by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the cosmic cry and sing, sing, sing of the sacred tune. It's a chorus of all creation. It's sung by all living things. It's the chorus of all creation, a song the universe sings. And by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the cosmic cry and sing, sing, sing of the sacred tune.
Part 6 of our series on Windows to Wonder, where we're pondering everyday sacraments, is dedicated to stones. Stones are such ordinary everyday things. We walk on them every day, we pass them without a second thought. But today, in our Time for All Ages, we get a glimpse of just how stones and rocks are everywhere in our lives. This is a book entitled A Rock Can Be by Laura Purdy Salas, illustrated by Violetta Dabija. A rock is a rock. It's sand, pebble, stone. Each rock tells a story, a tale all its own. A rock can be a tall mountain, park fountain, dinosaur bone, stepping stone, volcano flower, night glower, lake skimmer, building trimmer, hopscotch marker, fire sparker. A rock is a rock. Our earth in your hand. Our world's full of rocks, some simple, some grand. A rock can be a seaside home, a crusty dome, desert dune, harvest moon. Food grinder, pathwinder. Harbor protector, land connector. Sparkling ring, eagle wing. Book proper, or sheep stopper. A rock is a rock, part of cliff, road, or sea. Now go and discover what else it can be.
It has been noted by the orchestra pit that this piece keeps changing keys and going up and up and up. And it was expressed as a beautiful challenge and a welcomed thing, right? I mean, I could have misinterpreted, but what I want you to catch with this, it's just a privilege to play this with you, is the idea of holding things up that are worthy. And by the time that we've gone up those keys and we're at the end and we're singing of compassion and justice and integrity, that's the pinnacle of what I would have deconstructed the word worship to be, to hold them up as worthy. So by the time we get up there, that's why it goes ascends like that. But then I have to say, are you playing? You're playing this? You with me? Oh. Oh. Whoa, whoa.
This is an excerpt from Barbara Brown Taylor's work, An Altar in the World. Many years ago now, I went for a long walk on the big island of Hawaii using an old trail that runs along the lava cliffs at the edge of the sea. More than once, the waves drenched me, slamming into the cliffs and shooting 20 feet into the air. More than once, I saw double rainbows in the drops that fell back into the sea. The island had already won my heart. Part of it was the sheer gorgeousness of the place, but the ground also felt different under my feet. I was aware of how young it was, the newest earth on the face of the earth, with a nearby volcano still making new earth even as I walked. On the big island of Hawaii, I could feel the adolescent energy of the lava rock under my feet. I caught its youthfulness and walked farther that day than I thought I could, ending up at a small tidal pool on the far southwestern tip of the island. The calm water lay so green and cool before me that it calmed me too. Nothing stirred the face of the water save the breeze coming off the ocean, which caused it to wrinkle from time to time. Walking around the pool, I came to 3 stones set upright near the edge where the water was deepest. All 3 were shaped like fat baguettes, with the tallest one in the middle. The other 2 were set snug up against it, the same gray color as humpback whales. Altogether, they announced that something significant had happened in that place. I wasn't the first person to be affected by it. Whoever had come before me had set up an altar to mark the significance of the place. She continues, Bethel, house of God, is what Jacob called the place where he encountered the holy. Not on a gorgeous island, but in a rocky wilderness, where he saw something that changed his life forever. The first time I read Jacob's story in the Bible, I knew it was true whether it happened or not. There he was, still a young man, running away from home because his whole screwy family had finally imploded. His father was dying. He and his twin brother Esau had both wanted their father's blessing. Jacob's mother had colluded with him to get it. And though his scheme worked, it enraged his brother Esau to the point that Jacob fled for his life, because he and his brother were not identical twins, and Esau could have squashed him like a bug. So Jacob left with little more than the clothes on his back, and when he'd walked as far as he could, he looked around for a stone he could use as a pillow. And when he'd found one the right size, Jacob lay down to sleep, turning his cheek against the stone that was still warm from the sun. The dream was vivid. A ladder set up on the earth with the top of it reaching to heaven and the angels of God ascending and descending it like bright winged ants. Then all of a sudden a voice. Remember, I'm with you. Jacob woke up, saw nothing out of the ordinary around him, same wilderness, same rocks, same sand. If someone had held a mirror in front of his face, Jacob would not have seen anything different there either, except the circles of surprise in his eyes. Surely God is in this place, he said out loud. Shaken by what he'd seen, he couldn't seem to stop talking. How awesome is this place? It was one of those dreams he could not have made up. It was one of those dreams that's so much more real than what ordinarily passes for real that trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what really happened involves a complete redefinition of terms. What is really real? How do you know? Can you prove it? Even if Jacob could never find the exact place where the feet of the heavenly ladder came to earth, even if he could never find a single angel footprint in the sand, his life was changed for good. Having woken up to what was around him, he would never be able to go to sleep again. At least, not to the sacredness that he'd experienced, that had promised to be with him whether he could see it or not. What really happened? Who knows? All Jacob knew was that he had to mark the spot with stones. In this reading from a great writer of our day, may we find wisdom for our living.
All things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. Within this present moment, all things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. Within this present moment, all things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. Within this present moment, all things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. Within this present moment, all things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. Within this present moment, all things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. All things breathe as one. Within this present moment, all things breathe as one.
Wherever we travel, it's fun to choose a few stones to take as reminders of the beauty of the place or the ideas that the place has inspired or the experience that you've had. At least in the places where there's no signs that say don't take the rocks to remember the experience. Stones are markers. They are memories. Maybe it's a human thing. Maybe it's because they're so abundant. We are enamored at picking the very best one we can see. the one that suits us. Maybe it's because they fit so nicely in the palm of our hands. Whatever it is, stones just call out to us as an everyday sacrament, don't they? Which makes me curious that Jacob, after fleeing his family and traveling all day, finds a stone for a pillow and lies down to sleep. Of all the things I can think of to do with a stone, a place for my head is not one of them. But Jacob finds the place to sleep, and he sleeps. And he not only sleeps, he has a significant dream about this mysterious connection between heaven and earth, about a sacred presence that promises to be with him. He dreams of a voice of presence and protection. And when he wakes up, he wakes not just from sleep at night, but perhaps he wakes from a life of waking sleep. He finds himself awake to what's around him in a new way. He opens his eyes and suddenly the world hasn't changed, but everything looks different. He's awake to sacredness. He is awake to presence. Maybe we've all had moments like that, moments of connection to the world around us, moments of quiet, beautiful moments of oneness, moments where things just seem to stand still, moments where you want to linger. It makes us wonder how we become fully awake to the world. Especially in our world, through which we increasingly sleepwalk on autopilot, in a trance of routine or a pattern of productivity. How awake are we really if we stop being bowled over in awe at the everyday miracle of rocks or clouds or trees or whatever? Wakefulness, that embodied attentiveness to life as it lives through us, seems as mysterious as our night escape into dreams, and often more elusive. However, some great minds, some great thinkers have pondered this question before. Henry David Thoreau, author, poet, philosopher, naturalist, proponent of both living in relationship to nature and the earth, and also at the same time advocating for civil liberties and social justice in some unique balance. He writes these words: "We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn, which does not forsake us in our soundest sleep. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by a conscious endeavor. It is something to be able to paint a particular picture, or to carve a statue, and so to make a few objects beautiful. But it is far more glorious to carve and paint the very atmosphere and medium through which we look, which morally we can do. To affect the quality of the day, that is the highest of arts." Recognizing Thoreau's language as a product of his time, when we look at what he says, he's perhaps asking how we can become awakened to the ability to elevate our lives. What can we do to become more connected to one another, to the earth, and to the world we live in? To reawaken and stay awake, as he says. It is the infinite expectation of the dawn, a new beginning for oneself, according to Thoreau. He sees each person as a potential sculptor or artist, and while it's a thing of beauty to paint a picture or carve a statue, Thoreau is talking about carving our own day. Making a conscious endeavor, a thoughtful, deliberate effort to wake ourselves up in order to do what's right, to be the moral person of our dreaming. To put it in words that we've used before around here, could I call this striving to live our highest values? And to do it, we need to be awake. But not just that. If we have a moment of clarity, whether it's after a dream or in the morning dawn or at some other time of wakefulness, how will we remember it? How will we commit to the feeling of renewal, the sense we so often have of what we ought to do? How do we remember and not simply slip back into the routine and quickly forget the experience? This happens to me all the time. I have the greatest intentions and the loftiest goals at 4 a.m. I think to myself, today, I'm going to do this, I'm going to think that, I'm going to change this and the other. But how do I still follow through with that at 10 o'clock or at noon or at 4 p.m. 2 weeks later? I must have as a reminder something. I must build myself an altar. I must choose a stone and put it in my hand. I must mark the spot. I have to return to it. Physically, perhaps, but in the heart of my being and in my conscious, wakeful thought, definitely. And so I'm with Barbara Brown Taylor. I'm with Jacob. I'm with Henry Thoreau on this one. When clarity strikes, act. Otherwise, it's a daydream and a wispy cloud. When the dream speaks, stay awake to it and discern it. When the moment inspires, find a stone and mark the place. And in that stone, find your way to the everyday and ordinary sacrament of what in us is the most human, the most awake. Mark the spot and return to it often. May it be so for us in this week, in so many ways. Let's strengthen our intentions with words that join us and connect us, whether we speak them aloud or silently. In the always creating energy of our world, we celebrate beauty. Beauty swimming in rivers and oceans, beauty creeping in soils and seas, beauty singing in wetlands and waters, beauty dwelling in forest and field, beauty found even in the midst of brokenness. We celebrate this living planet and the gift of life. We honor resilience and strength that grows into healing and wisdom. May we awaken to what the natural world, our senses, and the everyday sacraments of living have to teach us. With reverence and gratitude, wherever we are on life's journey. Amen. A few invitations to share. We are really excited to welcome you back to in-person gatherings starting on September the 12th. And if you've seen this week's messenger, then you know that there's some details there that you can read about. That starting on the 12th, we'll begin with a safe and slow start with limited attendance through those first 3 weeks. And to limit our attendance, we're asking that you reserve a space for one of those September gatherings. And you can do that starting online on August the 15th. That's a week today. Or for those of you unable to navigate online, you can phone starting Friday, August the 13th by phoning the church office and leaving a message with your name and how many spaces and which date you'd like to attend. All of this information and more is available on our website that you can see on your screen. So, I hope your excitement grows with ours as we can grow to build our community again, face to face. We will be celebrating the life of Phyllis Fowler on Saturday, August the 14th at 2 p.m. It will be a small family in-person memorial service, but the SSUC community and all who knew Phyllis are welcome to join by live stream on our website. So please join us online this Saturday at 2 p.m. On Sunday, young adults, families with kids are going to have a barbecue. That's next Sunday at 6 p.m. We'll have different kinds of food available. Bring your own drinks, and we'll have time to play, time to chat, time to talk, time to connect. Nest is an opportunity to learn about how to be solo in nature. Some skill-building sessions, all leading up to 24 hours alone in nature. This is for grade 12 to older adults. And you can find all that information on the Emberwood website that's listed there. We invite your donations to any of the methods that are on your screen, and we know that in gratitude for all of the ways that you've supported this community, we know that you've chosen one of these ways, and we thank you for all the ways that you've contributed to the life and the work of SSUC. If this is your first time and you'd like to donate, we thank you for that. There is a time to go and a time to come, and it's this time of in-between. It's this time to mark the places where we are. It's this time where we recognize the beauty and the wisdom in every place we find ourselves. And so we sing about it.
Go to the water, gather by the sea. Go to the water, hopes in you and me. Go to the fire, gather by the flame. Go to the fire, life we do acclaim. Go to the mountain, gather on the hill. Go to the mountain, love is with us still. Go with the Spirit, journey to another space. Oh, go with the Spirit, sacred in every place.
I'm holding a few of my recently collected rocks. They remind me of a place. I hope you might do the same. You might review the places you've marked, the memories you hold. You might mark some new ones and collect some new stones. And as you do, may you remember the connection we have, your light in the world. And until we meet again, may we go to be changed. May we go to change.